the sooner you get to I have to do better, whether it's tomorrow or tonight, you know what I mean? Like that is what throws people off, is when you fall off. There's an expression in addiction, like you choose when you get on the roller coaster ride, you don't really choose when you get off. And then that's I mean, like you're willing, like putting yourself into that roller coaster seat, putting the seatbelt on, and then someone else hits go, and it's like you're kind of in that chair until that carney until the carney hits stop, right? And addiction's similar in a way. Like this isn't true, but sometimes it feels like you become powerless to it right away. And the moment I start letting French fries and cheeseburgers get in there, it's like, okay, now you've neurologically habituated yourself to start saying yes to that drive, and then to have to go through it is hard. This whole idea of doing these conversations in this podcast sort of stemmed from, I want to get people's opinion about obesity. I want to learn a little bit more about obesity. I want to hear some insights of people that have dealt with obesity. And for me, and the last couple people that I've talked to, we're further down the road than you, dude. I mean, like I turned 49 in a few weeks, right? So you're still a young buck. You're still, I mean, how old are you, pal?
39.
Wow. How old?
39.
39. I got you by 10 years. Okay. So like in my 30s, I still felt pretty strong and pretty mobile. Now, strong like you? No, not strong like you. Strong enough to move and to be relatively mobile and not be denied things in life because my physical stamina couldn't keep up with it and stuff like that. The last couple of guys I've interviewed have been in similar situations to me. Like both Billy and Sean reached over 500 pounds. So they're coming in life with that perspective. And when they're talking about diet and food and moving, they're doing it with bodies that have had to carry 500 pounds of just man on their feet. I'll tell you, dude, it's a unique point of view. At least in my head, what is really cool to talking with you is, you really are an elite athlete. And whether people, including yourself, realize it or not, I mean, I remember one of the first times I was ever introduced to you, before I think we ever met, Mark put up that post talking about how you were just you were a dad, you were a husband, you were a working class guy, but you also could deadlift like 790 or something like that. And
so I just deadlifted 722 in May, and that was in competition.
Remember the post he wrote about you 3 or 4 years ago?
Oh yeah.
So, tell me about that.
So that was when I had gotten into the gym, and for me, you're talking about the gentleman that you just spoke to. That magic number for me was 404.8. I stepped on the scale and I saw 404.8 pounds. That was when I realized I was on a collision course with a heart attack and I had to change. Shortly after that, my dad had some medical issues, and it all hit so hard and so emotionally. Like he was Superman, that was my pops, and then to see everything and have him decline so quick that it just hit that I had to do something in it, and that's what sparked the change. So I was at 400 pounds. I'd seen my dad like lose mobility. His neck was broken. He had to have discs in his neck fused, whole bunch of crazy medical stuff that wound up with him losing his leg as well. So when I got into the gym, I was a high school athlete. I played football back then. I lifted weights back then. But it was just for the purpose of I needed to lose weight. And it was Bill, and I thank Bill so much for being like, no, dude, you can do this. You're good at this. Do this. And through Bill, he vouched for me to Mark, and Mark's like, okay, yeah, you can come in the mornings. And that's when I got to start coming in and train with the morning crews and stuff. but the particular one you're talking about, I was lifting on the weekends, and all my lifts other than that were at home. I was had just pulled, I think, 690 on deadlift.
Oh my God, dude.
And that's what it was, hey man, everybody starts somewhere. This guy was a dad, he's a husband, he works 40 hours a week, but he comes in here on the weekend, and he went from the couch to 4 years later 600 plus pounds.
But he made a point of saying, like, do you realize, like, what percentile of strength that this puts him in? Like 1 in 10,000 strength, or 1 in 110,000
So
strength.
it's the number's grown here in the last couple of years because there's a crazy amount of elite lifters developing and showing. So those numbers are changing every day.
Mm-hmm.
But being above 700 pounds in any of the one lifts, the dead and squat particular for unequipped athletes, puts you in the upper 1% of lifters in the world.
That's crazy, dude. I even remember him breaking it down to like the thousands or something like that. I don't even remember. I guess the point is, though, is like hopefully we'll be able to crack in on like some sort of discussion on, like, you're saying you personally cracked 400 pounds when
yes,
and that wasn't, and then I remember Chris introducing you to me, and in you saying something similar, that you had sort of just begun your weight loss journey. But as a guy that has been, like, I feel like at one point I was where you were, and I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't rise to the moment. I still let my health slide further and further, degraded down. My love for food, my allowance to, like, poo-poo walking for no reason. Huh?
Sarah, my wife.
Yeah. Tell me more.
If I didn't have her and didn't have her constant support, I would have failed at this so many times over, man. It's not funny. She always calls me the strong one, but she's the one who's always there for me. And again, like, when I get into those moments where I'm just like, I'm a terrible piece of shit. I'm eating like an asshole, and everything in the world is my fault. And I'm sure you've had those moments where you've just failed at one thing, and then another thing happens, and you get in a quicksand. And then, like, every little thing seems like it's your fault, and the whole world's crashing down on you. I can put 600 pounds on my back, but that woman can lift me up every day of the week. And like, I have to tell people that all the time. Like, and she is my rock. She is my support system. And without her, I never would have been able to do any of this.
Have you always been a heavy guy, even as a kid? When did you first sort of like have how early do you remember going, God, I'm bigger than these kids around me? When did you first start realizing that?
7. So growing up in Texas, football is life. Football is God. Everything is football, right? You know,
right.
God, guns, faith, and pigskin. So we played Mesquite Pee Wee football. That's where I grew up, and they had weight classes. So you could only be in this certain weight range to play on this team.
I hate that, by the way.
I think it was a crazy rule back then. I think they've done away with it in recent years.
I don't think they have. I think they still really guard young light kids from young heavy kids. I think, and I think football is like I know I'm interrupting you, and I apologize, but like, there's not a lot of sports. Every other sport, speed and agility is celebrated and the strongest tool. Football is the one tool where you can be big, and it's part of the sport. It's part of the process. You put the big guys up front, put the big guys in the middle up front, and yet they'd say, oh no. I mean, I know some places said, well, you know, if you do go over the limit, you can only play like center or guard or something like that. That at the very least, it's sort of, you know, they're trying to do places where these kids aren't getting a full steam of speed to go crack outside linebackers or corners and stuff like that, which makes sense. But I hate penalizing young kids for being heavy when just letting him get on the team and play would probably be the best thing for him to be less heavy. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So, I 100% get you. I think that the weight classes, or not weight classes, but weight limits can be detrimental to a kid psychologically. Because looking back now, and when I say that I first experienced this when I'm 7, I mean, I was drinking lemon water, eating rice cakes, and I can't name any names because, like, even nowadays it would be considered child abuse. Like, I was going to a sauna, bro. Into a sauna, out of a sauna, into a hot tub, from a hot tub, into a swimming pool, back into the sauna.
At what
Not
age?
because
At what
of the
age? At what age?
7.
Oh God, dude, that's not healthy.
We did that for 2 years so I could play football with the kids my age. When I was 9, I was so big that I had to move up an entire weight class and skip a whole group of 9 and 10-year-olds.
Did you
So
have to weigh in before every game, or just at the beginning of the league?
Thankfully, just at the beginning of the year, just at once at the beginning of the year.
How much did you have to cut that? So those 2 years, how much did you cut to make team?
On average, about 20.
How heavy were you?
I think back then I was in the low 120s, 130s.
How did that feel? What was that like?
It was torture. Like, knowing that the only way I could play football with my friends from school was I had to starve myself and then go essentially do a fighter weight cut. Like, seeing what fighters do now, that's what I was doing to make weight for a football team.
Yeah.
At 7 years old, man, and it was horrible. I didn't want to do it. And then, like, that's what triggered it, because I told my mom I didn't want to do it. And football player, my older brother was a star, and I was a star athlete when I was young too, and I didn't want to disappoint my dad, so I didn't want to tell him. So I told my mom. My mom told my dad, she's like, "Hey, you're not forcing him to cut weight this year." And then so my dad's like, "Okay, well, his only option is to move up and play with the 10 and 11-year-old, or the 11 and 12-year-olds." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it."
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then so even that, I moved up a whole weight class, was playing with kids 2 years older than me, and was dominating.
Mm-hmm.
And I took to football like a fish to water, but it was a constant weight cut. After that year, when I turned 10, we had to completely leave that league and go play in a different league that didn't have weight limits for linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Only the skilled positions. So wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks had weight limits. They called it the X-Man rule. So if you had a big taped X on the top,
this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I remember weighing in, and if I remember correctly, which my memory is kind of shoddy, I remember overweighing, but it was by just a few pounds, and I was probably the only kid in the stadium that day that hit over. And there were a lot of skinny kids in Coeur d'Alene when I was in the 80s, dude. It wasn't like it is now. But I'm pretty sure I was like 3 or 5 pounds over, and they just said, "Nah, let him go. He's clearly not that athletic." And they probably thought he'll just work it off within a few minutes. But I can't even imagine, or within a few weeks, I can't even imagine being rejected that day. I can't not even imagine being in the 7th grade, not 7 like you. God, I didn't start until I was 12. And then hearing. And I was like, I was 12 and like 180, if that, or 185 or something like that. Like I was, and I think I was like 5'10". I shot up really fast. I got most of my height really young. And I just
sad that I stopped at 6 foot.
Huh?
I said, I'm so sad I stopped at 6 foot. I could use a couple more inches to spread all this out.
That's what happened to me. I stopped at 5'11" and 7/8. I'm still pissed. I can't even give an honest claim of 6 foot. I claim 6 foot, but it's not even true. It's a lie. It's a facade. To get back to, so since you've been 7, being heavy has been on your mind to some degree, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a dickhead question?
Yeah.
How come you never got skinny along the way?
I tried a whole bunch of times. I tried a bunch of different diets. I tried Weight Watchers. I tried Slim Fast. I tried the shakes. I tried limiting what I'd eat. And even once I got past my teenage years, the lowest I ever got was 312.
Almost cracked into the 2s again.
Man,
when did you punch up above 3? How old were you?
Um, Goodness, 14.
Fuck, bro, I did not realize that.
Yep.
Wow, that reshapes my entire view of
Yeah, I've been
of I,
plus 300 pounds for 25 years of my life now.
so all you've done in some sense is gain athleticism since
Mhm.
your mid-teens.
Yeah.
You just could never really drop the
Yeah, I've always had
the
a big belly, and the love handles and the side man boobs. And like even when I would get down as low as I would, it would just still be there.
was sort of meeting the Bell Bros kind of instrumental in your like health transformation. Was the war on carbs sort of like your first real launching point as an adult?
Absolutely. And again, I will at any point I will absolutely credit Mark, I will credit Chris, and I will credit Stan with a tremendous amount of what I've been able to accomplish. Because yeah, when we moved out to California, we had just started on the idea of trying to lose weight. So we were doing a bit more walking. We were trying to watch our food a bit better. But then everything that I had known in Texas, like we left it all behind. So we get out there, I get a bit depressed, and Sarah pushes me to find something that I really want to do again. Like, hey, you need a hobby. You need to not be just sitting around playing video games all day, every day. Like we can a little bit, just not all the time. So I start looking into strongman. I find Untamed, but I also, at the time, we were on a very small budget. Sarah was a student, so we had essentially 1.25 income coming in. And just, it was a bit cost prohibitive. Nothing against Alan, nothing against any of those guys. It's just when you have three people supported on that little funds, paying a gym membership of $75 to $100 a month is just an expense that's really hard to accommodate.
Mm-hmm.
And then finding out that Mark had the free gym was instrumental to everything. Because once I got back in, I was lucky enough that a lot of the first about 30-35 pounds just fell off. And we all get that, oh my God, glorious moment of that first 10 to 15. I was lucky and it was about 30-35 and it just fell. And then from there, it's been a long slog to just lose a couple of pounds here, put it back in muscle, lose a couple of pounds here, put it back in muscle. And him having that gym and the constant, anytime you need someone who is going to be the person to pick you up and tell you that no, you are an amazing person, you are strong, you can do this. Hearing it come from Mark meant a whole world of difference that I don't think most people who've never met someone like that can understand.
Yeah,
You know what I
that
mean?
guy's special. That guy's special. I've only known. I would put him in the top three men I've ever had the pleasure of knowing personally that I've had the most
Absolutely.
respect for. There's Colonel Council. He was my colonel in the army. There is Ken Van Meter. He's a guy I knew from a church I used to go to. Him and me and his son were friends. Once upon a time, we've just sort of lost touch because we don't live near each other anymore. But he did our premarital counseling. He's just a really just like a legit, nice, righteous dude. And then there's Mark Bell, just a one of a kind, stoic enthusiast and practitioner and lifelong athlete and sweet, nice, gracious guy. And I owe so much to him. I don't know if you know this or not, but just a few days ago, I emptied that studio I had with Chris because like they were moving out of that building, and it was a
Oh
hard day.
no.
It was a hard day, dude. I knew
You
it too.
sure?
I knew in the morning I was like, it's gonna take three car loads to empty all that stuff out, and it was 3 car loads, and I will miss seeing those guys on a daily basis. That guy is super super special to me. So what is like a good day of eating look like for you right now? I know we said 300 grams of protein, but go ahead and tell me like what's a good day of eating look like for you right now?
So normally it's coffee in the morning with the wife, heavy cream. I've been still slowly trying to reduce the sugar I put in my coffee, but I despise the taste of coffee by itself.
As you should.
Uh,
You're not a
yeah,
sociopath.
so has to have a little sugar in it. Protein bars are my normal go-to snack. There's two companies, Quest and Power Crunch.
Hmm.
Both make really tasty protein bars. So those will be my protein bars. I'll normally have one of those in the morning because I don't really eat much for breakfast. I normally skip breakfast. I'll have my coffee in the morning. A couple hours into the day, I'll have a protein bar. Lunch here lately has been ground beef, rice cooked in chicken broth, spinach, carrots, and then whatever seasonal vegetables I'm finding. So right now here in Chicago, it's been Brussels sprouts and asparagus. So I'll chop up some Brussels sprouts, asparagus, corn, spinach, or not corn, carrots, carrots and spinach, and with the rice, ground beef, monster mash, baby, boom, good to go.
How
So
much
that's
how much rice and beef are you putting in there? What's your portions look like?
um. So I'm normally doing, I'd say about 2.5 to 3 pounds of ground beef for the whole week. So I'm probably getting about a half pound before cook weight of ground beef per serving. I use a whole cup of rice for the whole week. And then everything else is vegetables. So probably 2 cups of vegetables worth a day.
So that whole cup of rice for the whole week, how many portions does that last you?
5.
So you do this monster mash once a day.
Yep.
Okay. So you're getting okay. See, and I think most people on the vertical diet, against Stan's advice, use 80-20 ground beef and then probably use like a cup of uncooked rice per bowl, not per week, right? I think most people are probably, I know, like me personally, when I'm sitting there cooking the rice and it's time to, make the right choice of how
I
much
might be
rice.
doing, I might be a little under ricing, but I found if I eat that much rice, I just feel so freaking bloated and I can't train. Um, because once I put that belt on, it binds your center mass, and then like you try to get down in a position for a deadlift, it's so damn hard when you're that bloated. Because I'm also trying to drink a gallon of water a day
Mhm.
just to try to keep water going through my system, try to keep anything from building up, and like that much rice, that much water, you just you get
So
the bubble.
is it mostly like then two main meals a day and then surrounded by like some peripheral protein snacks along the way? Is that kind of so what's dinner usually look like then? If that's
Dinner is
lunch.
normally a solid protein source. So here lately, it's been a lot of pork because it's been on sale.
Hmm. Yeah.
If not, it'll be I'll go to just ground beef, chicken breasts, whatever is clever, and I can season it a little bit. Veg, we'll normally do 1 to 2 veg with every meal, and if we're not doing that, we'll do a little bit of rice, and then we break it up occasionally by doing adventure meals. So we'll pick a different country from around the world, and once a week we'll try to make a recipe off of that country and try to make it as healthy as possible. With the primary focus of our diet just being avoiding artificial stuff.
Hmm.
Me and Sarah, we don't eat a bunch of snacks. We don't eat a bunch of just pre-made junk food. The 17-year-old daughter child, different story. She loves her pizza rolls and all that stuff, and I wish I had the metabolism of a 17-year-old girl. Jesus.
How do you deal with having that in the house? Because I find it to be such a challenge most of the time.
Man, it is so hard because I can be like, okay, I need the monster mash for I don't even want to do the math number of days in a row, or I can put 10 pizza rolls on a plate and have it done in 2 minutes.
So you really have to say you're
Yeah, I
really
have to
looking at.
constantly tell myself no.
Yeah.
It's and I had asked Mark about it one time, like when does it stop? And he's like, it never stops. Even now, looking like he does, it's like it never stops. There's times I look at stuff and I want to just eat that, but I know I can't. So it is a constant battle.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten better, and there are days and weeks where I can just like not see that stuff in the pantry. Like the kids used to kind of put that stuff like right out in the open, like where it was really easily seen. I at least get most of it like behind the cupboard door. I try not to even go in that cupboard as much as possible. But yeah,
Outside, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, you kind of have to. Do you so the meat that you're making? What's the weight goal for that again?
So the next one, I just want us to add, the next one I'm doing, I think is going to be in April. I'm still going to be in the super heavyweight, so I'll probably be in the low 320s, or I want to get into the low 320s just so my belt fits better when I go into for my deadlifts. It's about what I weighed when I competed back in May. But the next one I do after that, I want to get down below 300, 308 pounds. So I want to get down to the low 300s.
Have you ever done like a dunk test or anything like that? Do you have any like guess of like your optimal weight that you're trying to eventually get to? And do you have like any, do you put much time or consideration into that thought, or are we living one day at a time?
Mostly just one day at a time, because like trying to get a bunch of stuff like that done, it's all about the money and trying not to spend that. And I know, unfortunately, there's points where you have to, but just trying to take it as, man, I don't want to use the word holistic, because like holistic medicine gets a really bad rap and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really kind of what I'm trying to do, is just try to be as like, I guess natural would be the best word, not natural in like the sense of lifting natural, because I'm on TRT and I'll tell anybody I fucking take testosterone, whatever. But I'm avoiding a bunch of the processed sugars. We're avoiding a bunch of the processed carbs. If we're gonna have pasta, we make it by hand in our kitchen, and just trying to cut out as much of the garbage as possible. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Do you have a number in your head anywhere? Like, oh man, I'd love to get back down to there again.
If I could ever see 275, it would be amazing.
Yeah, dude, 275 is kind of my number too. That's kind of my number too. I think 6 foot tall endomorphs sort of gravitate to 275. I'd love to see 275, bro. 275 would be amazing. If I could
just see the first number on the scale be a 2 again, I would be ecstatic.
I know that we're in different spaces health-wise, but I'm really trying to get, if I can lose 10 more pounds in 3 weeks, which is kind of a lot for me personally. I don't really ever seem to lose that much that fast, but I would love to. I want to get out of these fours, dude. I'm right. I've been in the fours for a long time, bro, and the fours are gross. I'm not trying to be rude or mean. The fives are horrific. The fours are gross. They suck, dude. And
makes you feel terrible.
You just feel terrible. It's just too much to carry on your joints on a daily basis. I woke up this morning at 2 and my freaking foot thing is acting up again today. And I'm starting to realize it's coming from a tight calf. And I'm starting to learn that it just means I have to start digging into my calf more. That's something that Mark kind of turned me on to. I really thought it was like Achilles tendonitis, and I still kind of do, but a tight calf seemingly is a giant aggravator to it.
I hate massaging my calves.
Dude, it's so bad. How do you do it? What's your tips for how you do it?
I lay down on the bed, bite a blanket, and have Sarah run the massage gun on my calf.
Yeah, that's what I did right before I got on the Zoom call with you. And I lay down on the bed with my feet hanging off, and then Rebecca took the massage gun to my calf. That's exactly what I did. By myself, there is a little trick I have. I think it's called a psoas. You know those? You know the blue thing that's kind of got like almost, it's flat and then it's got like a blue thing. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Does that make sense? I'll show it to you. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I've seen Smokey like lay on that before to dig into like your upper, like lower abdominal groin muscles, I think is what it was designed for. But what I found a little hack for it is I'll be sitting on my couch and I have a little ottoman footrest, right?
Yep, I remember.
So yeah. So I put that thing on the footrest, and then I sort of sit crisscross applesauce with one foot, and then that one foot I'll anchor in between those two little humps to just keep it stable, and then with the other leg I go and rest it on it, and then just start looking for pain, just looking for pain, dude. Myofascial release works. It works.
Oh, yeah.
If I don't do it in my lower back, especially my lower back, and now I'm learning in my calf, I'm a wreck, dude. I'm an absolute wreck. But do you know why I'm so aggravated today? Was because we found a Cyber Monday. I knew with the gym closing, that I was going to need to start finding a gym to go to again. And also the fact that this, for the last 4 or 5 months, my feet have been just really, maybe I should say last 3 months, my feet have really just been back again as like a daily source of misery in my life. And for me to output the level of mobility I want to output, I had to get back into the pool. And we got this Cyber Monday. We bought a year up front for like $19 a month for 24-hour fitness to this one right by our house, where they got a nice, okay pool, and they got a sauna. I've started sauning because I don't want to die of a heart attack, and a sauning is really important. But we found the next town over towards Tahoe, Folsom. Okay. You know where Folsom is, right? Yep. Folsom has a nice 24-hour fitness dog. It is nice. And
that nice big pretty one up there on the hill. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, dude. It is I used
to work up that way.
It's on like Riley or something like that.
Something like that. See it as you're going up the highway. Yep.
Bro, it is see, I thought that was I didn't think that's the 24. That's like that fancy brand.
Lifetime Fitness.
That's Lifetime. Yeah, you're thinking of Lifetime. And I hear those places are insane inside. But this 24-hour fitness was still the nicest 24-hour fitness I've ever seen. It had 5 fat lanes, bro. It went from 3 feet to 5, which was plenty, deep enough. Nice. And then it has a big, like, wading pool that's near as big, that's like 3 to 4. And I was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to start bringing my kids here. But also, I can go get laps, and I swam for like 40 minutes yesterday morning early. And today, dude, I'm paying the price for it. That's just, sure. I'm just paying the price for it. And it is what it is. Something that I started doing in the pool that's been really helpful for me, because I don't have your strength in my legs yet, but I started doing pool split squats. I go to the shallow end of the pool, and I've been doing split squats. I don't know if you ever saw, I rigged a band over as almost like a harness, and I was doing that in a power cage, and that actually kind of worked really well. But the pool is so much better. And dude, Justin, the last day I worked out at Super Training Gym, the very last thing I did, because I had a little lift with chest, I got my chest all pumped up, because that's how I do it. And then I went and did my myofascia stretching and stuff like that. And then I had to get up off the floor, and there was nothing to grab. And I was like, I could do my Superman push, where I knee up from my knuckle, or I knuckle up, one knee and knuckle up. But I was like, dude, I think I can do this no hands. And I just sort of did a rocking, and I got up, dude. And I was like,
yeah,
bro, that to get up off the ground without having to pull yourself or push yourself up, to actually do it on the steam of my own 2 legs, it was amazing, bro. So I mean, I know I'm making progress. I know I'm making good progress with all of this, but oh dude, I still need to lose the weight. I saw this thing recently. It's going around right now. It's kind of in vogue and in trend, and it's starting to become a reality, as a lot of these like pro body positivity people, some of these advocates for just healthy at any size people are passing away. And it's been like, I've always said, you won't see any 60-year-old obese, healthy at any size advocates, right?
Leopards ate my face.
What's that?
Leopards ate my face. I don't know if you've ever seen this on Reddit, but it's a whole Reddit devoted to people getting exactly what they asked for. And I feel like this is a lot of that. I'm okay with somebody accepting that they are the size they are. Cool. That's you. Don't shame anybody else. Don't tell anybody else who has taken it upon themselves or has decided for themselves to change their lifestyle in any way. That is not your business. If they can accept you for the size you are, you can accept that they want to change who they are, albeit for health reasons. Or if somebody wants to be fucking hotter, so what? That's the society we live in. Now, if you want to accept being big and you don't want to do anything about it, you also have to accept the consequences, that there are additional things that come with being as large as we are. There's additional cardiovascular issues. There's additional arterial issues. There's additional issues with degenerative bone disorder and our joints failing because there's so much weight put on them constantly. So it's a whole situation of, if you want this, you have to accept the consequences of exactly what you've asked for. If someone wants to lose weight, let them. If someone wants to be fat, let them. But if you're not going to pay attention to your own health, don't ask other people to do it.
When you hear that the reason why you're fat is because you're lazy, what do you think about that?
Uh, I can't really like abide that one because like I can show you legit data showing that I'm not, and show you my step counter showing that I'm not. I can show you what I eat. I can show you in my fitness pal the food that's been tracked. So it's not necessarily an issue of you're lazy and you don't move enough. I had a terrible relationship with it and I'm undoing or a terrible relationship with food and I'm undoing 20 plus years of abuse where I used it as an emotional coping mechanism. I used it as a friend. Like, how many times do you remember in your early 20s when there was nobody else around and you're in the kitchen, you're talking to yourself and you're talking to your food as you're cooking it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, buddy, you're going to taste so good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It becomes a comfort thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then growing up with a Southern family and the other half of my family being Mexican, food was a gathering place.
Mm-hmm. You talked about, you've been on TRT now for about what, 5 years, you said?
No, for me, it's been about 2.5, almost 3 now.
Can you kind of give me your HRT story?
Sure. So it was once I got to the point where I thought that I was doing pretty good and everything else, I'd kind of optimized the diet, trying to get the sleep better and things like that. That I started talking to some of the other guys at the gym there in Sacramento, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well, you need to find out is there anything out of whack, and this is how you go about it." So I reached out originally to Dr. Whitmer, and got everything scheduled, got my tests and my panels done, and went through that whole process with him. We went down it line by line, finding out what I needed to adjust, and finding out that I was probably about so the average scale, I was about 60 points below the low end.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Real
I
low
was,
then.
yeah. So
In
started
the
going through
hundreds? Were you in the hundreds then?
low twos.
Low twos.
Very
Got you.
lows.
Low twos. Okay.
Yep. So with that, started going with him and started working through that process, was getting through him. And then yeah, that's really been it. It's been a really simple process with him. Getting it mail order, getting the test done. So it and DHEA are the only really two things that I'm on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the DHEA just being the mineral that it is. Now that I'm here, I actually need to go get another full panel done and find out all my numbers again. And
Me too. They just emailed me. I re-upped my prescription and they were like, "Hey, we're not re-upping this again until you get a new panel." Just so you know, they said, "Hey, this is the last re-up until you get a new panel," is what they told me, which made total sense. I'm way due. What is HRT? Have you felt any physical effects? Like, how is it? Have you noticed any benefits in your day-to-day life from the HRT?
oh yeah, significant rises in energy, even though I sleep terribly. Like I can sleep 3 hours and still wake up and run all day. Um, Significant boost in sex drive. Lifting improved moderately. I'd say I can't say that there wasn't an increase there because I mean, in the end, it is what it is, and you're giving your body back the chemical that it needs to build and produce muscle. So yeah, increases in energy, increases in sex drive, increases in my all of my lifts. Only real side effects that I've experienced is my sleep just being more broken.
Mm. You said something to me a few months ago. We were talking about dudes in the gym and who's friendly and who isn't friendly and stuff. And he was like, and you basically said, well, yeah, I mean, like you're in tight with the Bell Bros, so people kind of know to be nice to you. And for the most part, that's true. I didn't have very many times when people weren't anything but super cool to me, but I will say, like, I felt like I really stumbled into, like, I think people, like, I feel like I won a raffle or something like that, get to hang with the Bell Bros for 2 years and become their buddy and listen to Chris rant and make you laugh and all that stuff and get to be known and know Mark, who is a man I have tremendous respect for. And I've had a chance to meet some really, really cool people. I mean, I was talking with Luke Hawk we were texting a little bit back and forth. He had a podcast on the Power Project recently, and he was Instagramming live the whole thing. And that was the day I was moving out of the office, and I just was listening to him on my Bluetooth through his Instagram live the whole day back and forth. And his story's powerful to know that. I mean, and I don't. I've talked to Stan at the gym, just like a hi, nice to meet you, thank you for your help, but we've never had like a shared conversation or anything like that. But he was so freaking nice to me, and even when he didn't know that I was Chris and Mark's buddy, anytime I've ever DM'd him on IG, he's always answered my question. He's always been so freaking nice to me, and to know that if I really,
I only have nice things to say about Stan Efforty.
yes, and even and to be able to text message Matt Wenning if I need to and ask him a question about something, like, dude, I've been given access to such knowledge, and I just feel like it would be irresponsible for me to not try to push that forward to like some of like the people that are in our situation. We've kind of left where, you know, we're just sort of cresting that hill of the second half of our life. Youth and enthusiasm sort of got us through some bad decisions as a kid, but now we're sort of trying to unfuck some situations that we may have gotten ourselves in health-wise. Dude, I've learned so much, and I want to figure out how to push that out to people and how to like let people know that there is hope. Dude, you're a great example. You know, Mark always, people always, I've lost, damn it, today. And I thought today was the day. I thought today was the day I was going to see 100 pounds lost on my scale, and I hit 99 again today.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's okay. But
you found the sauna. You can get that pound by the end of the day.
Oh, I thought about it, but I will. I'm making it one way or the other by New Year's.
There is a Taco Bell diet. Go get you some bean burritos and throw some extra spicy sauce on them. You'll lose that pound.
Oh my God! Or I just need to make a breakfast burrito with a little extra tapatio sauce on it. Oh my God, that's a great idea. So you know, I want to gosh. I was going to say something. Oh, I think I kind of lost my thought. Oh, that TRT works so good. I never lose my thought. What am I talking about? No, but I'm just saying, like, I've had a chance to really meet an interesting group of people, and I want to pass it on to the best of my ability. Like, for anyone, like, I think most of the people that are listening to us today are near our age or maybe a little bit older. But if this message ever gets filtered downward to a younger group of people, like what would you pass on to them for? What would be your advice as far as learning? What would be their advice as far as health and obesity and food, relationship with food and exercise? What would you want what would you want to hear? What would you wish you would have heard 15 years ago that you know now or that you're practicing now? What would you have changed 15 years ago?
Man, don't sleep on it. Like, take control of your health now. Understand what your body does, understand how it reacts to things, live a healthier life and take care of your joints, because losing fat is easy, repairing a joint is hell.
Yeah.
Find out what your parents have, because there is shit that we get genetically that we had no clue we have because our parents had it. Eat less junk food. Just learn to cook for yourself. Don't rely on other people to cook for you all the time. And I think that probably would have been one that would have helped me out a lot when I was younger. Just learning to cook good food without a bunch of crap.
Yeah, that's good advice, dude. That's cool. Well, I think that's it as far as our conversation goes for the podcast. Do you have gosh, I know you're working on, when is your next meet?
April is what I'm looking at. There's one in April and one in May, so it's gonna be one of those two.
Okay.
And then I've got I gotta find an actual gym out here because it's just been the garage here recently. But Chris recommended Lances and Quads is supposed to be Ed Cohn's gym.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and along with what you were talking about, man, getting to meet people through like not to the degree you were, but like, oh my God, the blessings that were just available to me going into that gym. Like guys that you didn't get to meet because they were gone before you ever showed up, but the stuff that I learned from guys like Emilio and Zach, and the years of knowledge that I got from Bill and training with Trainwreck before he moved on down south, like that was immense, dude. Like, it was years and years and years of knowledge of competing power lifters that was just given to me. Hey, do this. Hey, do this. So that when you do this, you're not going to hurt yourself, you know? Getting to meet Mark and Chris, getting to meet Stan, then getting to meet Ed, but that it just meeting them turned me on to a whole world of stuff that I had never really thought about. And I got to go to the Arnold, like in Columbus, Ohio. I got to meet Martins Lises. You want to talk about one of the funniest down to earth dudes you will ever have the opportunity to grace his presence? Martins Lises is fucking hilarious. Super friendly, always wanted to talk and wait and meet all of the fans. Same thing with Bill Kazmaier, Sadrunas Savickas, just all amazing dudes that when you show that you want to pursue this, are more than willing to give you all of the knowledge they have. And if that, to rewind just a moment, one thing that I had wished I had always been told from the start, and like when you're a 30 something, 40 something year old dude and you're walking into a gym and you have a huge beer gut and you see all these dudes with massive traps and biceps, ask fucking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Show genuine interest, ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
That will get you further than anything you can hope to do.
Mm. Yeah, it's good advice, dude. All right. Well, hey, man, I thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. I got to go build a TV stand.
Oh, cool. I am going to put a desk together.
Awesome.
Awesome. I'll send you pictures when I'm done. I'll send you pictures. Nice. You send me pictures.
Will do.
I love you, bro. Thanks for spending time with me. Brother. All right, let's talk soon again, okay? Absolutely. All right, bye.
Sounds good.
All right, bye. I'm going to hang up, okay?
Okay.
All right, see you, champ. Bye. I don't know how to do it.